What are you telling me? Oh, it says down there, hit big, extra hard. Like the hairy guy over there. Okay.
Beat the Beats steps into the VR rhythm ring, ready to take a jab at the musical melee market. This one caught my eye because I'm always looking for that 1-2 punch of combining my gaming and workouts. Developed by the small but passionate team at Parallel Circles, this game is available for Meta Quest, Steam, and PSVR 2, which is what I'll be playing. So let's check the tail of the tape and see if it hits the high notes or falls flat in the crowded chorus of VR rhythm games. Yes, it's another rhythm game where you swing your arms at targets. The comparisons to existing heavyweights like Beat Saber and Synth Riders are sure to come up. I hate to even mention it. But these popular rhythm games have spoiled us and set a lofty bar for everyone else. Not every game has to be on the level of Beat Saber, but I think comparisons are valid when you're talking about certain quality of life expectations, so that will be in the back of my mind for this review. But if you're like me and enjoy both rhythm games and VR fitness, you should keep an open mind to alternative titles that could add a little variety to your routine. Looking at the credit screen reveals only 3 names, so it's clear this is an indie production. They put a lot of effort into this over the course of 3 years, so let's try to not be too critical. There are 2 training levels. The first introduces you to punching and dodging. The second picks up the pace and demonstrates forearm blocking. The mechanics may seem simple, but I encourage you to play these tutorial levels a couple of times each, because there's a bit of a learning curve. I had a slightly frustrating start until I got a feel for the exact arm positions required to consistently connect with my targets. Having done my fair share of boxing workouts, I'm familiar with the difference between a jab, cross, hook, and uppercut. But for players who may be new to punching for fitness, this game could use some animations or diagrams that better illustrate the expected arm movements. Then again, maybe that would overcomplicate it. Maybe the reason I struggled a bit at first was I was trying too hard to use traditional boxing form. Since this is a game, I guess all you have to do is aim for the panels coming at you. I had the best luck when I punched the face of the panels straight on with my knuckles, following through with my punch to make sure I connected straight through it. The movements are definitely boxing inspired, but you're alternating arm swings to such a musical rhythm, it also feels like you're dancing. There are red prism obstacles that snake toward your head, requiring you to dodge. In boxing terms, you could call that a roll or a slip, or you might even choose to do a backbend like Neo dodging bullets. Another mechanic is blocking. You raise the back of your forearm vertically at the proper height to block an incoming row of purple sticks that make a satisfying clapping sound to the beat. When I first saw footage of this game, I was concerned that there weren't enough workout moves. Les Mills' Body Combat, for example, has squats and hammer strikes and battle ropes and even knee thrusts. But believe me, there's more than enough obstacles and punching directions in Beat the Beats. It's almost tough to keep track of when things start flying fast. Scoring is straightforward. Hit targets like they owe you money, and the harder you swing, the more points you rack up. You'll see little numbers popping off your punches, and packing enough of a wallop will net you 100 points each. Upon completing a level, you'll get a letter grade as well as a final score. But that seems to be the only place you can see your score. I wish the song selection screen would show you your previous high score, so you know what you're working towards beating. The game is advertised as having 6 albums or collections of songs. Each section includes songs with a somewhat similar vibe, and each collection provides a new background environment too. In total, there's about 60 levels. There doesn't seem to be that many songs, so that must be including the B-sides. B-sides give you another way to play each of the songs on a harder difficulty level. At the start, you'll be able to play just the first 2 songs, but as you complete them, they start unlocking pretty quickly. Although I wish there was a more clear indicator of how many more points or completed songs are required for you to unlock the next track or album. And I can say there's a pretty well-paced progression to the difficulty of the tracks. Each album either adds a new mechanic or speeds up the frequency of the targets and obstacles. To keep you coming back, there's also Daily Mixes mode, which I haven't tried yet, but I assume it chooses some random songs to give you a surprise playlist. I guess you would say the overall music genre is electronic pop dance? It's what you might expect from a rhythm music game. I don't mind it, but none of the songs were what I would call a knockout either. Music taste is subjective, of course, and if this isn't your jam, that might be a deal breaker. But if the game is successful, who knows, maybe the library will grow in size and variety. I played the first couple songs wearing a hoodie, but that didn't last long. Things warmed up quickly and it was off with the sweatshirt and on with the fan. If you played just the fast levels and punched forcefully for high scores, you can easily soak your headset with sweat. One observation though, I played all the songs with the same foot forward, and the next day I felt a little more sore on one side of my body than the other. The menu options do let you switch your dominant hand if you're a southpaw, but developers might want to add the option to switch hands at the start of a song to encourage a more balanced body workout. I also wish the game offered some modifiers. In particular, it'd be nice to see a no-fail mode. If using this for exercise, I'd like the option to roll from one song to another without worrying about failing. As is, if you miss 5 punches in a round, you fail and have to start over, which can be disruptive to your calorie burn. Digging into the menus, you'll find a user stats page. This is where you can choose your dominant hand, as well as turn on a color blindness mode and adjust your height. It also keeps daily stats for your amount of songs played and number of calories burned. But keep in mind, there's no way to enter your age, gender, or weight, so you should take that calorie stat with a grain of salt. You can also see the total number of panels destroyed, missed, dodged, and blocked. Although with nothing to compare those figures against, those stats are mostly useless trivia. Other options include language selection and volume adjustment for music and sound effects. Interestingly, we are also given a cool option for adjusting the spectator camera. This can change the field of view and smooth out the camera motion displayed on the social screen output, so those watching you play on the television will have a less nauseating experience. Most of the game footage you're seeing right now is using movement smoothing of 5.0. Most of the environments feature vibrant neon colors glowing against a dark background, which gives you that synthwave cyberpunk look that you'd expect from this type of game. But the first level has a very stark white background. Maybe the game's trying to set itself apart from competitors, or maybe it's meant to be a relaxing color since it's used on the slower levels where you learn the ropes. But in the headset, that pure white on the OLED panels is a bit harsh on the eyes. I found it odd that I had to squeeze the R1 and L1 buttons to make fists with my virtual hands. Maybe they want me to get a finger workout too, but a long gaming session could get uncomfortable if you're white-knuckling the controller the whole time. So sometimes I just let my grip go loose and thrust with my fingers like I was trying to claw my opponent's eyes out. There's a noticeable lack of haptic feedback in the controllers when punching the targets. It's there, but hardly noticeable when I'm throwing haymakers. The devs say there should be haptics, and I confirmed I have vibration set to 100%, so hopefully the vibration amount is something they can boost with a future patch. Despite drawing inevitable comparisons to genre giants like Beat Saber and Synth Riders, Beat the Beats finds its own rhythm with a mix of boxing-inspired mechanics and dance-like movements. It doesn't break any new ground necessarily, but it aims to fill a gap in your VR collection by landing somewhere between a music game and a workout program. It's more sporty than a pure rhythm game, but more casual than a pure fitness game. It's yet another option to get your sweat on with a progression system to keep players pushing their limits. Of course, it's not without its shortcomings, such as the need for better tutorials, more visible score tracking, and stronger haptic feedback. Nevertheless, if you're open to alternative VR rhythm games and looking for a fun way to break a sweat, Beat the Beats is definitely worth taking a swing at. Is it worth the $20 price? I'd say just. It's priced a bit lower than other fitness and rhythm games, which usually run $25 to $30. If you love this genre, you probably won't regret adding this to your collection. Plus, you're helping an indie developer, which could lead to further support for the game. But if you're hesitant, try the demo or wait for a sale. 3.5 out of 5 stars.
You can manually change your height in meters, however, it just changes in decimal point fractions of a foot, so you can't really dial in your feet height if you're using American. Am I 5.91 feet or 6.07 feet? I'll say I'm 5.91 feet. That's what I tell everybody. Is that where a picture of me could go? It doesn't look like me. My complexion isn't that red.